Hi friends, this is Niraj here once again from Moscow. Welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I just wanted to give you some update about the webinar on investment and business opportunities in Far East region of Russia. So this was held by Indian Embassy Moscow in collaboration with the FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber and Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and jointly with the Far East Region Business Development Council of Russia. So I just wanted to give you update about some things, key updates from this webinar which was held, some interesting information and things. It can be interest for anybody, whether it is a businessman or industry or some analyst or just for the development of understanding of the business and how it can be, what are the opportunities there in the Far East region of Russia. So first of all, they were talking about that this Far East region, just to give you a background little about Far East region of Russia, is that it's the biggest region as far as this natural resources and mineral resources containing region of Russia. And that the biggest port in that region is Vladivostok, as you know, and it is bordering the full, you can say, Mongolia to China and little bit of this North Korean side border also. So this is a huge region basically, and there are basically 11, this forest is called 11 regions, or the 11 states in that region comprises this forest. It is very rich in diamond, in natural diamond mining. One of the largest resources of coal and coking coal, actually highest quality coking coal. Huge forests, land area. So out of this Russia's total, Russia actually, the forest and the timber region of the world, 20% of that forest is located in Russia of the world, and out of that more than 70% is in this Far East region of Russia. So huge amount of this timber and related woods and forestry, agricultural resources also is there, and also very fertile and beautiful landscape. So it can be very good for the agricultural development also. So these are the main basically points about this Far East region, that what is it it consists of and what it is, what are the opportunities. Having said that, I would just like to give you brief about what was discussed, or what was the given update given by that Mr. Leonid Petrukov, who is the director of this Far East region government council for business and investment development. So for that cooperation, business development cooperation and investment development, to bring investment and the business into this region. So what he told is that, as I told, that because of this current crisis, coronavirus crisis brought into the world, this pharma and healthcare industries are into focus, and digital technology is into focus. That is also where lot of opportunities can be there for the Indian companies and Indian businesses. Apart from some, as I told about the timber and forestry business would be the focus area. Agricultural also would be the focus area, and mining and mineral resources would be the focus area. And what he told is that agricultural prices actually have shot up in the Far East region by 20% because of this trade disruption from China, because now they have blocked this Chinese borders, and things are not coming from China. So because of that, there is a huge spike up in the prices have happened. So that also he was trying to tell that for the Indian investors or the Indian businessmen or whatever the opportunities, that there is a huge land and very fertile and area available for agricultural, and there is huge scope of development of agricultural related food business in that region. And he also told that basically fixed asset investment in that region, in Far East region of Russia, has grown up at the rate of 10% per annum in last 3 years, which is much higher than even China's fixed asset investment. So that's what he was trying to tell, that how this region is developing, and how also in the terms of ease of doing business, as we know that Russia stands at the current around 26th or 28th position in the world, which is not much changed in last 2-3 years. So it's a fairly good place to do business also, and particularly in the Far East it is much more professional, because the Far East region is it's very business and investor friendly. What he highlighted also, some of the points which can be used as an attraction to attract investment, is that if you come to in Far East region, it is there all kinds of SEZs are there. There are already some kind of 10 SEZs or something like that way, and huge infrastructure and everything is available. So for the investment into this, once you come and decide, you approach that for any investment happening into this SEZ, if you want to set up a mine or plant or do, so you get 0% profit tax, means there is no income tax there is no corporate tax in that investment for 10 years. And apart from that, only there is 7% of the social tax. So in Russia, other parts of region, you have to pay for that employees and whatever the investment, 30% as the social tax in normal all parts of Russia. So only in this Far East they have made it like 7% too. And also there is no VAT on import of machineries and equipments for setting up industry or any businesses. If you import from outside, there is no VAT also. So that also saves a lot of capital cost on, it's a huge capital cost. And also if there is a specific skilled like of industry where you need, like say in diamond industry, there is as I told you, that there is a huge catch of diamond mines in Far East region of Russia. So in the diamond industry, you need the skilled workers. So India is having this kind of already, that ecosystem is there, so that you have huge availability of the skilled workers. So they allow also that in such kind of industries where you require the specific skilled workers with due something to with respect to this Russian laws, labor laws and all these things, you can bring in 100% workforce for the first 2 years of your project, first 2 years of investment, and after that you have to train this local. So this is also a huge advantage. What he told also is that there are already 26 projects undergoing with the Indian companies in this Far East region of Asia, worth around $2 billion. And some of the prominent projects are happening by the Vedanta in the health project. In some health sector, they are putting up something in that region. And Tata Power is also already undergoing exploration in the coking coal, and Coal India is also undertaking exploration into that region, and which is in the very advanced stage. And what he gave a very interesting perspective about is that this region has what they have found from the initial exploration and mining is that it's the best coking coal as far as the properties and specifications are concerned. Some of this volatility matters, and which are the basic requirement for the coking coal is the best as far as that's what he was telling. And in 3 years time, when they were expecting that all this development will happen and start production, mining production, so currently, which Russia exports around say 6 million ton of coking coal, it can just jump to 30 million ton of coking coal, and the best quality coking coal. So I mean, he was even telling that you compare it to any say Australian coking coal, which is very popular, at least in the Indian steel industry. It is much superior to this Australian coking coal also, some of the properties, and even taking into account this region, that 30% of the, once it is fully developed, all this mining and resources of the coal, it will be having 30% of the world's coking coal reserves are in that region. and projects, enormous opportunities of so many opportunities of this project. Having said that, even in times of this coronavirus, and because of the disruption in the economic activities of the world, and the disruption in the trade activities of the world, I would say, my personal take is that he was talking about 3 years to take this development of these mines and coking coal and all these things. But my take is that it can be 4 years, because you forget about this year. 2020 is gone for every industry, irrespective of whichever industry you are in. So it can be in 4 years' time. It can be one of the biggest regions with the richest coking coal resources, and it can be very beneficial for Indian steel industry. Because just to give you a little background about the steel industry also, is that India is the second largest steel producer in the world after China. Roughly around 100 plus million tons of finished steel production I am talking about, because crude steel is higher to about 115 120 million ton. So, and don't take this 2020 figures. I am not talking about this, because this is a kind of a black swan event, and it cannot be taken as a common figure. So forget about 2020, but before that, you say taken 2018 and 19 figures. So it's around 100 million tons of finished steel production, which is roughly 10% of the China's steel production, but the second largest in the world. And the way our this India's infrastructure is growing, and a lot of requirement will be there, because we still at very, what do you call that, at the initial stage of our infrastructure development, be it rail, be it roads, be it port, be it power, be it any kinds of all this infrastructure. So huge requirement of steel demand will be there in India, and that is where India doesn't have actually any resources of coking coal. It's just for the namesake. Tata Steel is having a mines in Odisha, which is producing coking coal, but it is not very significant, because even for them it is less than 20% or 25% of their own coking coal requirement it meets. There is no other coking coal resources in India actually. So we have to import coking coal as well as the met coke, or either import. It's a combination of both these things. So India, with its growing steel demand and growing steel industry, it will be requiring a huge amounts of this coking coal. And I think that is where this for Indian investors and Indian steel industry and Indian mining industry, it's particularly, it's very interesting aspect to look into this region, and it can be facilitated. I know some of these companies here in Russia, and if somebody wants, I can this is my job. I am a consultant, so I can help into facilitating all this meetings and evaluation also, because as an analyst I undertake that evaluation of the project evaluation, or financial evaluation, whether it makes sense or not, and what kind of but looking at the overall picture, yeah, this is a very fantastic region with huge mineral and rich resources, and with India's growing population and the growing everything demand. Even we will require food also, because for us the land in India is not sufficient, because with the growing population, the land, arable land, what you call where you can be cultivable land, also will keep on decreasing, right? Because with the expansion of the cities and expansion of villages into the cities, and with more population requiring more housing and more automobiles coming on road, all these things will only lead to the reduction in the forest and the agricultural land. And on the other hand, our requirement that the food will keep on growing. So India, as a strategic investment also, and as a strategy also, it has to look into the outside India for this kind of agricultural food production to secure its food security. So that is where also the Russia, being a very traditional friend and partner, strategic partner of India, it provides a very easy and good opportunity for Indian businessmen, Indian government, as well as the Indian investors to look into this agricultural and forest business into the forest region. So we can solve many of our this food production, dairy production, and all these things. Many people won't be knowing, sitting in India, that India has done wonderfully well in white revolution. Means the production of milk production has increased 100-fold times in last 20-30 years, and India has become more self-sufficient into this milk production. But having said that, I been living in Russia for quite some time, and I know a lot of things. Russia is one of the used to be in Soviet Union time, used to be the biggest milk producer and the milk related products, and there is a huge scope here right now. Also, it's very rich in that dairy, what do you call, the dairy production and dairy technology also. So that is also a very good opportunity for the Indian companies and the businesses, or anybody. I am not talking only specific about India, but anybody. There is a very potential for this agri and the dairy production and dairy technology business also. Of course, apart India's biggest contribution to Russia's business and investment is in terms of pharma and healthcare, and oil and gas and natural resources. But as I told, that these are the also sectors, and they were also positioning Far East region of Russia as an alternative to China, in the sense that if somebody now, with this more and more countries becoming kind of angry with China, and trying to move away from China for their production facilities as well as the business, they are looking at alternatives. So that is where also he was telling that Russia, this Far East region, provides a best alternative, because its proximity also to the China, so that shifting anything from China, even by say some Indian companies also, it becomes easier to relocate into the Far East region. And with all these incentives in taxation and other things provided, it provides a very good opportunity for Indian business or Indian companies also in healthcare sector also, like this production of protective equipment, which is now become very popular because of the sudden demand for because of this coronavirus. And also testing facilities, he was telling that we can have some kind of a collaboration with the Indian companies wanting to, we have all these equipments from China, which can be immediately, and it becomes a Russian production basically. So that way also Russia can become base with the collaboration with the India, the technology transfer happening in India, and a franchisee model where some of these testing kits and facilities can be produced in India, so that is what all in short he was giving this update about. So my uptake on this, before making it very little longer and boring, is that there is a huge opportunity for investment and the business with the Far East region of Russia, particularly in for the steel industry and the mining industry, because of the largest coking coal resources and the coal resources. You can, apart from the diamond resources, already diamond guys are working. And so if any query regarding this, or any consultancy or any kind of help regarding this is required, I am available. So you can contact me. My contact details are there, or you can send me the message, and my contact details are there in this down description. That's it from my side. Thank you very much, and request you to subscribe it and like it and share it. This is Ciao from Niraj from Moscow. Thank you.